replanting the Sarracenia into those little small trays. I'm recording this video to show other people out there you can actually do it with no problems, with much ease. And let's start. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to remove all the sphagnum moss and the soil, so what's remaining is the exposed root mass. I have a couple plants, potential plants, all in one, maybe like 5 or 6. I had this for about 2 years. I think it's about time for it to be separated. I'm going to use this tote to collect all the soil and sphagnum, and then finally I'm going to place into these trays. So let's go. Now see, I'm glad I did this. Seems to me it was growing kind of weird, but it looks to have an issue. It's a simple fix. Um, I'm not too sure if this is fungus gnats or it's just some form of bacteria or mealy. If it's mealy bugs, I'll just spray it down with some water, try to clean the roots as best I can. I'm glad I'm separating once again because this could have been a major issue later on down the line. End up killing my Sarracenia. It's an old plant, but it's hanging on. So I'll show you what I do whenever this problem never happens to you. Just some simple water and just thoroughly clean it. The substrate you're using should be a well draining one. Apparently this wasn't, um, but let's continue. Right now all I'm doing is just knocking off some of the soil. Um, they're just like regular plants. Everyone thinks that, they're pretty hard to grow, but generally they're easy if if you have a green thumb. If not, then it's gonna take some getting used to. Um, I've grown these for a very long time now. I think I've seen a couple problems. It was an entrance even since I was a kid. But yeah, all I'm doing now is just cleaning off the roots. It looks like it's just some powdery stuff, probably some fungus. Um, yeah, you can use Spizan 20, or you could just let the plant fight it off on its own. My plant's been alive for this long. I don't see an issue of letting it go with this problem. But if it gets worse than this, I'll use some Spizan 20 and get rid of the problem. But this is pretty much all I do. I separate it from the soil, try to show as much of these roots as possible, clean up as I go, and then I'll be placing them in those trays. Another added bag, this is my second one. My first one was really big. People don't realize that, it's another thing people don't realize is that your carnivorous plants roots, even though they say they're shallow, it's a lie. They actually grow. This is a root mass. Like, you can get any other plant and you'll see roots. Carnivorous plants are like one and the same. They grow roots. The longer they live, the longer the roots. Everyone says, oh, they're shallow because they're in acidic soil and they're always waterlogged. That's not necessarily the case. Yes, their environment can be very much boglandish, but they still have roots. They still acquire some form of mineral, some form of nutrition. Not a lot. Yes, still nutrient poor. It's in the word itself, nutrient poor. So it still acquires some form of nutrients in its soil, but not a lot for it to maintain life. So it still grows to, like, in search of something to keep itself well grounded. I believe they pull up a lot of phosphorus, but don't quote me on that. I could be wrong, but yeah. All right, now this is the part where I like to clean up as much of the dead foliage as possible. As you can see, I have a lot here. I haven't really been doing my due diligence and cleaning up, but yeah, I have other plants to take care of also. Trying to like get to them one at a time is not easy. If only I had another set of hands. But let's see here, another dead one. Yeah, so all I'm going to be doing is just going through and removing the dead leaves so it can show me what's really trying to grow within this mass and what's already been used up and just taking up space. See, as you can see, you can tell it's still pretty healthy. It can fight off whatever it is in the soil. Nice and pink, healthy growth. Still making some nice, lovely traps, which I pretty much bent. Okay, knock out some of this soil. I don't want it caught in its mouth. Another traps. I'm not worried about that too much. But yeah, again, take off as much as these traps. They're bad because they can pull in more disease. And right now I don't want no parts of that. So, alright. We're making some little progress. Let me speed this up here. Okay. Let me back up. But this is what it's supposed to look like after you rinse it off. I kind of like poured a lot of distilled over it so I can get a better idea of what I'm working with. I should have known that I had something going wrong because it wasn't growing quite well. Can't really tell on this camera. It had a little bit of a discoloration, like right there, a few other places, but Yeah, your root ball or root mass should look something like this. Hope you guys can see. Yeah, yeah, you have like a good couple in here. Separate all and begin planting. As you see, I rinsed it off with a lot of distilled water to get as much gunk as soil off. So, all right, I'm gonna start off by taking this nice pink one. It's the biggest one. Seems to be growing quite nice. It's a few big ones connected to it. Um, I generally like to start with something that's visible, like this one. I'm gonna take it, throw it in there, and we'll see how the rest of this root ball look afterwards. Well, this is a perfect time to make cuttings besides using the budded off Sarracenia or Carnivorous plant. For Sarracenia, you just pull off one of these leaves. Make sure you get a nice big chunk of that right here would be a nice one. Take this whole entire leaf and plant it. It would be a perfect cutting. But right now I'm not doing that. I'll make another video showing the process and how easy it is. Carnivorous plants take root pretty quick as long as it has enough vigor and energy. It should take pretty easy from my experience. Everybody else may have something different to say, but for me, this is how it works. I just take the cutting from here, plant it, and I had no issues. So this is actually leading me somewhere else. This might work out well. Let's take off these two. Being as gentle as I can, people. They look really rugged, but this is how you gotta be when doing this. So that's that. That's that. With some nice little roots there. It's actually more than one, as you can see. There's some babies here. This is like the main one that's been sucking up a lot of nutrition. Look at these traps. Pretty neat. Alright. Um, don't worry how it looks now. I'm going to just rinse these bad boys off with some more distilled. As you can see, I still have that little powdery white stuff. I'm just going to brush it off. A little more here. Take that off. And I'm going to splash it once again with some more water. Because right now it's going through a lot of shock. I'm thinking, honestly, with the water, it kind of cools them down and puts them back in their happy place. There's some other ones right here, nice and healthy. I hate to separate you guys, but I must. So I have a nice little root there. Look at that right there. Nice white roots there. Little baby one there. It's probably gonna make it, not make it. Let's see. More dead ones. Alright. So let's go in the middle of this. Pull out the last few dead ones. I'll leave those alone. I think this is the original root mass. Looking here. Yeah, I think it is. So I'll leave that alone. And come back to the big one of the other bigger ones. What was that? Yeah, this is really healthy. There's two here. I'll just leave them alone. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 brand new plants, or the same plant, just being separated, with 1 additional cutting right there. I'm hoping that that takes. Um, I'll make a few updates, letting you know if it lives or dies. I'm going to be planting the Saracenias into their new homes. Um, these pots, it's a tray, but it has 18 pots in this tray. They're about 3 inches, roughly. And I'm going to be making a hole about half of that, about 1.5 inches. I want to just cover the root base, so right about here. So I'm thinking about 1.5 inches to cover the rest of the soil and dig deep. And again, like I said, carnivorous plants roots actually dig. They don't just stay there and shallow. They actually dig. This is a plant I had for about 2 years, so as you can see, very long roots. I hate when I hear people say, "Oh, you don't have long roots. They're small." No, they're like any regular plant, just modified leaves. A few specifications that are slightly different. Yeah, it's a plant, guys.